Hey everybody, this is CJ. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana. This is I don't know if this is something that I've done in a while. I think I've done some things like this when I was doing the whole Facebook thing, which I'm not anymore. So I'm doing YouTube videos. This is on the riverfront of Shreveport, Louisiana, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But first, I want to call everyone's attention, all three or four of you that see these little videos. Thank you, by the way, those who continue to watch and comment. That's kind of cool. I want to talk about. I guess these are. I don't know what they are. These two pillars. They're workstations or whatever. I don't think they're restrooms. I think at one time they were. I think they're closed. I don't know. They're maintenance stations for sure. This is one of my favorite. It's called Safe Harbor, and it is. I guess it was created by Dee Dee Morrison. I don't know if that means that she did the design or that she actually did the construction. Sometimes these things, people will do the architecture of it, then someone else will do. Now, when you, it's not turned on. Inside of this are lights, and it's really kind of cool. And it's an anchor, so it's saying this is a safe harbor. And there's some sort of connection to Shreveport's history, probably to do with the log jam and stuff like that. So from there, I'm going to walk over. There is a wonderful path that I think it goes for about 6 or 7 miles, which I'm not about to walk right now, although I could. And I should to lose some weight. But you can start walking down through here, and there's they would do riverboat cruises. I think they kind of have curtailed that starting at the beginning of the pandemic, and I don't think they've started back up. But anyway, that path will go back up there, or you could follow this. All these little sidewalks, and they go beyond these trees, and it goes like for about 7 or so miles to the curve of the river, and it's really kind of cool. And you can go back there when the season's good for it, and pick, berries and things like that, and come back home and make a cobbler of sorts or whatever. That's kind of cool. It's a good way to get out and burn some calories too. So there's a lot of berries back there. A lot of berries that grow back there. Okay, so this is kind of cool. I love this little bit of wildlife on the edge of our downtown. Okay, so this is Bossier City that we're looking at across the way. There's 2 riverboat casinos over here and resorts. And across the way is a really great, when they first built it, this Riverwalk, it was going to be like an outlet mall on the Bossier side several years ago, and I think it's been privatized. But at the time, they were like, the really strict dress code and this, and they were going to try, and it's like I would go there, and like if my hat was like askew or something like that, a security officer would be like, "Hey, could you put your hat on right?" And it's like I'm like nearly a 40-year-old man at the time. I don't really think I need instructions on how to wear a hat, which is sold in the stores. I literally just bought the hat out of a store that was on the mannequin, sort of canted. It was kind of like a beret thing that you kind of wear off, and he was like, "Hey," and it's like, "No, dude." But yeah, so God, look at this beautiful, beautiful river. Now the bridge is not lit yet. It will be, probably not by the time I do this video, finish this video, it probably won't be lit, but it's as soon as it gets dark, they'll light it up with the LED lights. But just the natural beauty of this river, I love, and I count myself very blessed. Then during the holiday season, all this gets decked out, which I don't think I've done a video of that either. But there's some people coming up behind me. and I look really, really atrocious right now. So it's like, but that's kind of cool. I'm not, sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm not ready for public appearances. That's the pseudo celebrity in my own mind coming into play. But God, look at the recursion of, and I know it's partially the reflection of sky onto the water, but gee, is that not beautiful? Okay, so all this would get like lit up. All this little area back there, we do great. I don't know where they're doing the 4th of July thing. I don't know. I don't know if they'll do it here or if they'll do it elsewhere. They were doing it down here. And then the last time they did 4th of July, I didn't even think, and I came down here. And it was like, oh wow, this is bullshit. Because everybody was down here. Everybody that was down here that's used to coming down here. And then it turned out the fireworks were not at this bridge where that traffic is, but the whole next bridge no, not that interstate, but there's a whole like bridge maybe about at the 3-mile mark where they were doing the fireworks. And it's like, that's absolute bullshit. There wasn't enough notification. Nobody even went on the news. Not even KTBS. No one said, oh, by the way, there's going to be a change in venue. But I'll have to check that out. And that wasn't last year. That was like the year before last, or something like that. It was like the last time I did that. Last year, when they were doing it, they did. What they did was they did like several little mini firework displays throughout the area, so that people wouldn't have to converge so many at one time, so they could do some social distancing and everything when they started back with it. So yeah. I mean, move past these little people. See, this is a really fun town. This is a great town. So yeah, fountain, which for some time wasn't working, but they got it working again, and it's great. I love it. And you can, like, from the backside, I'll walk up there. You can walk through all that, and not on the water and stuff like that, but it's great. It's great. Now, it used to not flow, I don't think, down in front where you walk here, because that was a pedestrian walking area right through there. I think they kind of like this. I guess now it does overflow. So it's a while ago that they actually built this. It used to not be here. That's a new structure. Not new, but in the last 15 or so years. It used to be the Barnwell Center when they first erected it, I think, and it was kind of like an arbitrarium, or what's the word for it, where it was like a wildlife, plant life. It was basically an inside garden of plants and things like that. And then, they died. Then it became, I guess there was like they had the occasional fish, and so I guess it was like everybody's favorite part. But now it's an aquarium. It's great. Across the river from it, and I'll show you when we get back over there again. Across the river is the Shreveport. That's actually kind of cool. If you got kitties, bring the kitties down here. I think it's fun for adults too. I want to take a walk up here and see how much I can get away with. When the fountain's not working, I know that this is open and you can walk all up here. I think the water kind of goes, like, stops. I don't think it overflows these steps here. No, it doesn't. So you actually can take a walk through here. Let's just take a moment and enjoy this. um, one of the things that I wish that they would bring back, but they have not, was a feature where there was a sprinkler system. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, well, I'm gonna do a little short walk here. When I come up, I'll tell you when I think I get to it. I love having a good walk. Taking a good walk is good in the heat for burning calories and things like that. So, it's actually kind of cool. And then standing up here is really beautiful also. And I love, this is a safe place. You can come here. Families come out and walk around. And it's a good time of the evening because it's not too hot right now. But yeah, why not come down here? If you're local, come down here, bring a box lunch. You can take a little walk through here. During the holiday times, these are all like dripping with LED light displays, but it's a little bit of a little, I would just say to call it wildlife would be a stretch. But yeah, there's birds and flowers and things all about. I love it. But listen, there are tables and things. Tables and places. Benches. What do they call those things where people sit? Benches. Where you can come down here and have like a lunch, you know. And then maybe if you want to come off with about $12 for the adults, and I think it's for young children, I don't think it costs that much. And you can go in and you can look at the aquarium, you know. We have some beautiful scenery down here at this Riverwalk Park, and I have not even begun. Right across the street is the, what are they calling that now? The Riverview Theater. It used to be the Shreveport Civic Theater, but it's the Riverview Theater. I haven't been in there for a while. I used to go see symphonies and things. I was dating a musician, and so it was, you know, he really enjoyed. Actually, the one thing that gives me the most gratitude about that relationship that went on for about 4.5 years was that I got a more enhanced appreciation for symphony music and can't even think of the word. Opera, yeah, Russian opera, Italian opera, American musicals in operatic style. You know, I'm not an extremely posh person by any means, but I need to get back into doing some of that. You know, like I do a lot of rock concerts, but I always thought of myself as someone who sought to be well-rounded. My sister posted just now about a hot dog day tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a video on the other side of downtown. This is downtown, right beyond here. When I walk through and I see the Texas Street Bridge, which is the Bridge of Lights, I have trouble thinking of it as the Brakowski Bridge of Lights, which is what they've deigned to name it after that doctor and his family raised like the first half of the money for lighting the bridge. But it's great. I still think of it as the Texas Street Bridge. Before that, it was the Long Allen Bridge, like Long/Allen, named after Huey P. Long and Governor Allen. Was there a Governor Allen? I don't know. Some Louisiana politicians. Anyway, where did I want to go? Oh yes, let me take a little jaunt down here. if you're with me and you've stayed thus far to see some of the beauty of this little riverfront area, this is not even like, this is kind of like maybe just a portion of how wonderful it gets down here. And I wanted to talk about one of the things that I wish that they would bring back. Well, even from here we can see the LED lights of that staging area. Okay. Brown pelican, of course, is our state bird of Louisiana, if you're not familiar with that. But anyway, okay, so here it is. This right here. This was a sprinkler system. And all these would have jets of water coming up. So the kids could come down here, and adults too, whatever, in the heat of summer. And it was kind of like, you know, that old time turning on the water fountain. I mean, the water hydrants in the summer to cool off or that kind of stuff. So, yeah, when, you know, and it was great. And they did it. People came down here and they took advantage of it and they used it. I'd be concerned about, you know, you want to watch your toes if you're jumping around, if you got little kids and you're jumping and splashing. But yeah, people would come down here and it was kind of like, okay, it's sort of a pool. And it was really neat. It was a fun thing for people to enjoy, because there are a lot of people that live downtown and around the downtown area. And, you know, like those of us who were around in the 70s going into the 80s, we remember when there was still a bustling amount of business downtown. What happened was, what happened to a lot of smaller metro areas. See, this is some more. This is a sprinkler system too that they had this. What happened was there was a flood, and so they never did, and the apparatus that worked it is like inside of the cement somewhere. So what they would have to do is they would have to go inside of the cement, find out, you know, and it was sometime like they'd have to go in there and they'd have to invest and they'd have to find out where that is. The apparatus, and it's the whole thing. It's not like you'd have to go in there and like service like one little piece. They'd probably have to go in there by now and take the whole damn thing out. And I think they should. And then they should create a control system that is above ground. See this? And that little piece of metal box right there that looks like a great big giant toolbox that's locked up. That is the control for the staging area. So it could happen here. I'm going to be kind of talking about that desire to have this sprinkler kind of thing brought back up. You know, why not? Got this going. So why not this, you know? Okay. I thought maybe I could linger down here a little bit until the bridge got lit, but I think that I'm probably not going to make it that long, because I'm feeling my stomach starting to rumble. Today was a day of fasting for me, and I'm really trying not to eat, because I ate so many carbs yesterday. Not an excessive amount, but like, yeah, more than I should have. There was like some whole wheat, but it wasn't like empty carbs, so it was good. A roughage and everything. It was like a grain bread, you know. But I made a lot of, what I would do is I would make like a small sandwich, small finger sandwich, and about every hour or so I would eat one of those. And when I say small finger sandwich, it was chicken salad. Can I tell you how cool it feels right beside this fountain, this water? As I walk past it, the drop in temperature is such a relief. I do some of these videos, and they're not so much about my perspective on things. They really are about me trying to talk about my love of downtown Shreveport and some of the surrounding features. And I want people to come. I want people to visit Shreveport. I want people to visit downtown Shreveport. I want people to move downtown Shreveport and live here. And I feel like, yeah, I feel like creating a blended residential slash business neighborhood among the lawyers' offices and the courthouses and things like that. That would be great. I know that this is so funny. My former roommate, now I say roommate, I've known him for a long, long time, and then at one point I subletted a portion of the house he was living in at the time. And it was a huge house, and we had like the whole bottom floor. And so I would pay to lease a bedroom and then kind of like a sunroom off to the side, of course with access to bathroom and kitchen and stuff like that. And so it was like really, really great. His daughters lived with them, and so they had their room and everything like that. And then for about 4.5 years. He was a really, really cool cat. Anyway, he was in rehabbing houses, and his business has expanded. He recently bought, his company has bought the Rubenstein building downtown across from the courthouse and the adjacent building, and they're right next to the Lane building, which has like a very historical shoe shop. It's probably not a historical, but locally it should be. Everybody here in town knows Lena's shoes at the Lane building. Anyway, so what am I getting at? Yeah, so that's going to take a few years. I think that's going to be a residential slash business endeavor that he's working on down there. So, and I haven't talked with him, so I don't really know any of the skinny or the scoop. But I do know that I'll be watching it. I'm not someone who's like I love to see my associates and everything like that doing well. But I'm not someone that shows up, when the getting's good, like, hey, let me rub up against you and hobnob now. But that doesn't mean that I don't see the work that people do in those areas. And, really happy for it. Okay, so, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to do and a lot to walk around, and I want to talk so much. I'm going to go back this way. I think I really do, because I started this video from the other end. But when I got down here, I started on the what is over to the left over here. And I took a detour up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk back over to the bridge, get a closer look. And I do see some of the lights are starting to come up. So maybe, who knows, if I can BS my way for about 10 minutes worth of video. I mean, the lights are on, but the sun has not come down yet, so we're not seeing that amazing effect. When you see this from my apartment window, when I show it in videos, it's like very, very vibrant. And then when you're a little further away from it, the lights are closer together, so you can see the gap in between the lights. So it doesn't look like one giant beam of bridge light that is alternating and moving and animated. And so it's like anything that's artistic. When you look really, really close and you're there to study the brush strokes and everything, you sort of break the illusion of a painting, the realism. The closer you look at something, yeah. That's a wonderful cloud formation. I love it. I mean, as soon as I get a hold of some more art supplies, I'm going to start painting again. So one of the things that I do when I come out is to look for inspiration. I'm not actually great at painting structure. So this train track going over here, I wouldn't be so great at like doing a train track. And if I did, would people know it was a train track if I couldn't paint in a train going over the train track? It would be, what's the word? I don't know. Uh, well, it wouldn't be too telling, but uh, yeah. Let me walk around. I think we get the idea. The lights are coming up, and as it gets darker, the lights become brighter, and they certainly look brighter. I don't know if it takes that bridge time to warm up or not, but we're starting to see the colors change and the LED changing. So I know that my lights, when they come on, they're instantly there. I don't know if if these lights have a warm up or not, but I do know that the darker it gets, the more they glow. It's beautiful though. What I like to do is I kind of like to walk up here and see the colors as it reflects off of the river. It's one of my favorite things. And also, I enjoy that there are people. I'm trying to do a video, so I want to kind of like run away from people. Okay, let me. These wonderful leaves are really, really great. Okay, so there's a restaurant space. It used to be Salt. It closed down. I never went there when it was open because it was, for me, it didn't pull me in. First off, the name Salt. And I have hypertension, so I want to, So there's boating that takes place on this Red River. And the Red River system also includes Cross Lake, and there's a lot of boating out there as well. So there's the what do I want to say? Cross Bayou area, right on the other side, right on the north side of the downtown, where they wanted to do a sports arena compound that had like a sports arena. So when we were cruising the Pelicans to be a D League or minor league team, but they opted somewhere else. And they opted somewhere else because at the time we voted that down, that development. But we had, it was possible. We could have done that. There was going to be attached to that. There was going to be some housing and residential that was built, and people really didn't want it. Great. That's okay. Maybe just on the other side of downtown, right? I mean, just maybe 6 or 8 blocks over, same damn neighborhood. They did put in some affordable housing that probably is going to be opening officially in about a week or so. I don't think there's anybody living there right now, and they're still developing it. There's like a 6-phase development. Residential, and it's also going to have some spaces that are residential and business blended, like little villages that are like close to I want to say close to university, where you have like the businesses, and then right above the businesses you have apartments and lofts and things like that. So that's kind of cool. We have a lot of that stuff downtown too, but it's not village style, but they kind of are, And then there's going to be, I guess, maybe in about 5, 6, 7 years, they will have worked on developing in the inclusion of that a modernized, fully amended, with full amenities, I should say, amenitied living units for seniors, which is good. We don't want to forget our senior citizens, especially me, since I'm knocking on the door of senior citizenship. Not really. I'm 50. That's not, but I still have a ways to go before we consider In a couple of years, maybe I can start getting some senior discounts, but uh, I won't actually be. I think you have to be like 62 to 65 to start thinking of truly be a senior. I'm not quite there yet. I'm not in a rush. Actually, the only reason I talk about it is so I can start getting used to it. So as it's getting darker, the sun's starting to set, we can see the intensity of these lights starting to come up on this bridge, right? Like, let's focus in here. Now, in probably 5 or 6 minutes, there'll be enough and people can, of course, walk and ride bicycles and stroll along this bridge too. I make this walk several times when I'm going to see a movie theater. There's a great movie theater right behind, yeah, right there. And of course there's one downtown too, a wonderful art theater. There's more people. Or no, are you more people or are they the same people? I didn't recall them motoring back that way. And the current flows this way. I do not know. Okay. These colors are looking great. Now they're starting to really pop. I think what it is like, for some reason they look more intense as the sun goes down. Now I don't know if that means that they're programmed to gradually start dimmer and come up. I don't know. I'll have to talk to some people that I know who know about things like that, including this, the programming of this bridge. This is very interactive. I know other cities and other towns have this too, an interactive light display. It's programmable, and they take suggestions from anyone. So if you have a kind of maybe a blueprint or a sketching of this bridge on paper, then you can sort of design, if you can work it out, how a light display would work in your mind. And then you could work out a sequencing of light changes, and if you submit it, and it would be really, really cool. And so it's the community. The whole idea is to get the community involved, and that is something that we do here that does not get done in a lot of other cities. How many LED lit bridges are there in the country? There's a few. I've seen a few, and they're pretty spectacular. Houston has some that go over an overpass that look interesting. But yeah, they really want to pull in civic interest. So if you're, and that's, I don't know. I don't know where to go with it. I mean, I could come up with some colors, and I could come up with some patterns that would look great as far as design goes. But I really wouldn't know how to assign meaning. Shortly after the Russia invaded the Ukraine, we went in full-on support and decked out the bridge. The lights went blue, and the white represented the yellow. It was sort of like a off-white that has, but we wanted to do in support of the Ukraine, which is to be in support of democracy versus communist rule. And that's about as far as I'm going to go with that. But it was kind of cool. It was a neat display, is what I'm saying. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to head back here. I'll walk back under the bridge. I've got enough videos that I posted that kind of show the bridge from a distance. Like, you can see it all the way from my apartment, which is like in another block or so would be in full view. Because it's a high rise. It's not, this Regent's building is the tallest building in downtown Shreveport, I think. But residentially, I think I live in the tallest building downtown that is entirely residential. And it's not actually entirely residential. There is space there if somebody wanted to open a restaurant, or someone wanted to open a convenience store. There's even a space there for a boutique, and occasionally someone does that, but the businesses don't do well there. Largely it has to do with the antiquity of the building. There are some features of it that are not modernized, and that tends to be problematic. Look at this. Look how it's lighting up. I love it. I love my city. I love my town. I figure if you're going to live somewhere, you should love it. If you don't love where you live, you need to do something. You need to get civically involved to try to create an environment that you do love. And if you can't find a way to love your city or your town or your neighborhood or your community, then you need to work on getting yourself someplace that you do love, because life is just way too short to experience a mundane living. So if you go out and you look around, see if you can't find something beautiful to love and appreciate about your neighborhood, about your small little rural community, even about your little cute little house in the middle of the woods, way out in the middle. If you love that and love living away from everybody, find something beautiful to love. There's all these little different artistic touches too that I love, that you could come down here and really spend time. There's these dedicated feet of people, and these are shops that are available, cohabs and stuff like that. So one of these days I need to get over there and see what's in this general. It's right next to, I want to say this was Fatty Arbuckle's, and they changed the sign to General's Bar and Grill. I don't know the story of it, but it was like an oyster bar, and it's like Fatty Arbuckle's Oyster Bar. So I don't know if it's the same owners and they just changed, or I don't know. I don't know, but I think it may be that the General with the J. Why do people misspell things intentionally? I don't know. Like when you go to look for this General's Bar and Grill and you type in General, maybe they didn't want you to think it was General, like average, like standard issue. I don't know. But I do know that if you go in and you type the word General and you use the word G, you're not going to find it unless I don't know. I should try that. I should go home and try to Google General with the G Bar and Grill and see if it autocorrects to General with the J. Wouldn't that just be funny? Or maybe I'm saying it wrong. Maybe it's pronounced Gennaro. Gennaro. Okay, let me take a little walk over here because I want to check out this dusty pink sunset that's happening before I head home. It does good to get out and take walks. I've always been a walker. I used to drive some, but my vision's not such that I should be driving. And I realized that maybe, close to 20 years ago, give or take, that I do not belong behind the wheel of the vehicle. It's just my vision, and it's, yeah. For a long time I wouldn't talk about it. I would just say medical, for medical reasons, but I didn't get specific and everything like that. People always want to know, why don't you drive? And it's like, but I've been to some metro areas where, very few people actually drive cars and most people take transit. But this is a small area by comparison. Actually, land-wise, we're actually bigger than Miami, but the population there is much greater, much denser. And then and then the whole like Miami-Dade area is basically one great big giant city next to city next to city next to city, and it's not until you get down towards the Everglades or the Homestead where I used to live where you get to the small town, but it's still like just right side out of the city. Like you pass through Coral Gables and all that kind of good, which is another little town. And it's Miami Beaches, which is right next to Miami, but they're two separate cities. You know what I mean? So it's and it's like those little areas have their own. Each one of them have their own town halls or steering committees and stuff like that. But it's one great big giant shared community though down there. I love it. Kind of similar to some of what happens in New Orleans, New York, the bigger metro areas where you think, New York City is a huge city, but the geographic area of New York City is split between about 5 or 6 burgs or something like that. I don't, so, but yeah, we have Shreveport and then Bossier, and then Barksdale, which is the Air Force city within a city it's like within Bossier City, but it's a little you know how those military bases are, their own little towns in and of themselves and could exist without the rest of it. So yeah. What am I getting at? Yeah, but we're one great big community. I go back and forth between Shreveport and Bossier and stuff. And aside from this local city tax, and there are 2 different parishes also, Bossier Parish and Caddo Parish. And for those of you who don't live in Louisiana, our parish is what you would call a county. But the statewide, it's from the state and on up, it's the same economy. And what's good for Shreveport is good for Bossier, and what's good for Bossier is what's good for Shreveport and everything like that. So, but I had to stop arguing politics with people who don't live in Shreveport when it comes to voting Shreveport City Council with people who actually don't live within the voting district. It's like, okay, well, I got what you're saying, and maybe you're not like inner city, and maybe you're more rural, or and you think, but you actually don't vote here, and therefore I have to vote for what I feel my conscience is, and I can't vote the way that you want me to. But typically I vote through the mail. So I have a friend of mine who's politically, he's almost opposite how I feel about things politically. But I get him to verify, you do it when you do mail-in voting like I did. And I do it that way because, like, if I miss something on the news about when there's a vote, I'm going to get the ballot anyway, and then I can read up on it and everything and make informed votes. But I get him to not second my vote, but to acknowledge that, yes, I am me, a person, and he verifies, and which is what they require here. And then, so that's kind of neat. Meaning also that if you're a husband and wife and you vote remotely, the husband can vouch for the wife and the wife can vouch for the husband. And that's legal too, because you're both two legal people. So I think that's how it works. I don't know if that's an exception or not. Anyway, so Stray Cats is a really interesting place. There used to be a hotel somewhere around here, Remington Hotel. And I know there's a new downtown day spa that just opened. that I need to go in there one day and get them to give me a really, really good warm warm hot oil manicure or something like that, you know. But yeah, no, here it is, Remington Sweet Hotel, and I need to check this out because I think there's actually some I'd be surprised if there's not like a good coffee shop or good food in there or something like that. It used to be like a really nifty little hotel, the Remington Suites down here. And then of course we have a civic center, and that there's a Hilton attached to the civic center now and everything like that. They actually have some great restaurants. There's some undiscovered places that local people like me, we wouldn't necessarily think of going there. But yeah, no, there's great. Why not go to a wonderful restaurant if you want high quality food at a fair price for what it is. You know, kind of almost a supper club experience without having to be the member of a supper club. You know, I love it. Think. I think it could even be a fun date experience for people who still date. You know. Okay, so now that I've kind of gotten away from that action of downtown, and I don't have that much time left, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye and good night. Love you all. Come check us out in Shreveport, Louisiana.